welcome back to another episode of the Bryan Wilson Show. Please welcome actor Faustino.
I guess one day I'll be just known by my first name. So how's your day been?
Pretty good, and yours?
Excellent. Yeah, it's just been busy. I got a slew of auditions, and I am trying to right now with this virus. Everything we do, we're doing it on a self-tape. So I just did this today. I needed to find a female reader, and they want us to find somebody that's at least an actor. I mean, you can get any reader, right? But it's usually if it's, you want to get somebody that knows what they're reading, and it's
like the right character and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It just adds for a better audition. So today the best I could get was somebody online. So I literally had to, she was in her office, I was in my office, and I had two cameras going, one which I was filming myself and the other which I can just see her face type of thing, and
Kind of like this, or?
Kind of, but not really, because Zoom, at least one day, I'm sure I can do this with Zoom. I'm sure I can. I'm sure I can. I just don't know how, right? So what I do is I have my own camera app on my phone, and that's what I've been recording as a file for, right? And then afterwards, I put together the files for one scene, two scenes, and then or three scenes, and then obviously the introduction, Faustino Di Bauda, 5'4", that kind of stuff, right? And then you're doing all, I guess they call it making a movie, right? So you make this movie on there, and then you put it into a file and you shoot it off to your agent, and then he basically adds the demo reel. And my previous profession before I was an actor, I was a stonemason. So I do a lot of projects around the house with stone cladding, like facings for the building, and then retaining walls, and cement that I pour for sidewalks and whatnot, and then the landscaping and gardening, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it keeps me healthy because it's very physically demanding as well.
Is that how you got your part in Once Upon a Time? I'm just kidding.
That's an odd one. It's interesting. When I got that one, I was already with my agent for about 3 years, but just going out for commercial auditions. And it was one of those things where I said, you know what? I haven't gone out for a TV and film audition yet. I don't understand why that is. So I asked him, and I said, why is it that I haven't gone out for a TV and film audition? He says, well, because you haven't booked anything as far as commercials. I went, oh, okay. But so what if I never book? I says, that's ridiculous. I mean, I'm an actor, right? He says, okay, well, I mean, it's not that easy. I says, well, submit me for projects for TV and film, please. I would really appreciate that. He goes, well, it's not that easy. Like I said, you have to find something that works for you. So he calls me about 3 weeks later for this pilot called Once Upon a Time. And the rest is history.
Very cool. Well, yeah. Things happen for a reason,
Yeah. They do.
they really.
I'd like to know what the reason is half the time, but you I guess kind of life is funny that way. It exposes itself little by little. Sometimes.
What was your reaction when you found out you got the part?
I was excited, of course. I mean, yeah, I was very excited. It was one of those ones where you go in. I did the audition. It was my very first audition. I forgot my sides, but I had it memorized, right? I forgot. I just remembered how to get there, right? Because I already went through it on my Google Maps, back in the day when you could go on the computer and go through it. Oh, okay. So I'm going to pull in here, and then when I get to this, oh, there's a gate. Okay, so they're going to tell me when I get there. Okay, good, no problem. So I just did the thing and went in and got there, and I realized, oh, I forgot my headshots too, and I forgot my resume, and I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, well, my resume, really, all I had on there was a couple student films that I did, and there really wasn't much as far as professional work because I hadn't really had anything for professional work at that point. And then just went through the meeting with the casting directors. They liked how I read, and then they told me just to hang out in the hallway for a little bit, and I did. And then all of a sudden, they called in the producers, and the director for the pilot was Mark Mylod, a Brit, and Steve Perlman, who has been with us for 7 seasons once. And I read for them, and they liked it. And I remember Mark asked me, he says, not that it could be done in a comical way, but what would that sound like? And I says, oh, I think it can be done in a comical way, right? I says, absolutely, right? Anything can be done in a comical way, right? You just got to make things bigger and fail bigger, right? Because people love to laugh when people fail, right? Or something's funny, like you bump your head, or something. So, anyways, I did, and he kind of went, "Huh, okay," and that was that. And I left there, and I didn't. They had no headshot, no resume. They just some guy they met, and they filmed, and that was it. And then a week later comes by, and they asked me to come in again. I thought this was what we call it a callback, right? And I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is a callback. Okay, so I get in there, and apparently it wasn't a callback because that's when I ran into Mig, who plays Bashful, and then I ran into Gabe for the very first time, who played Sneezy, and Doc, which was David Paul, and all these, or David Avalon, he goes by now, and all these other guys, and except Lee. Lee wasn't there because he was in LA at the time, and that was it.
Was he already cast?
I believe he was, yeah, because we were saying hello to Lee, right? So it was kind of like we got together in the room, and we were basically saying hello, and it was just one of those we're greeting Grumpy. It was saying, okay, so Grumpy's on the other side of this call right now. He wasn't. They were taping it, right? And just say hello. So I didn't even say a thing. They said, "This is Faustino. We want you to say nothing at all." I said, okay. So like, no hello? No. Okay. I said, no problem, right? So I didn't understand it at first, but I think it was kind of revealed to me when we started working together, right? So it was interesting. Yeah, it was when I eventually when I worked with Lee, it was my first night was the one where we were up on the clock tower, and I fall asleep, and he sees the dragon or the curse.
Yeah.
And that was it, right? And they say, "Sleepy, wake up." And I say, "What is it?" Right? Look at this thing. It's like, wow, right? So, we played it different ways, and it was funny. I remember they had a camera coming in on this crane and just kind of swooping in like this dragon type of thing, and I was like, wow, this is wild. The amount of mechanics that they've got involved with all these different cameras. And then they built this stage, which was like wobbly at best, like it was shaking on us, right? It was made out of wood, and it was, and there's styrofoam in the background, kind of giving us as a wall feature, like, and then everything else is green screen around us. So I thought, okay, and I didn't know how they did it, but we're on this little pedestal, which is called a stage, and it's up high, and then the guy that's operating the camera has to wear this kind of like harness with this, he can, has these handles that stick out, and he can kind of go back and forth and go this way or that way with the camera. And it's like, wow, I was just, I went in and I was like, this is wild. This is unreal. I've done student films where they use equipment, but nothing like this, right? So it was good. It was good. We had a great night. Lee was very hospitable, very helpful. He says, "This is your first gig." He says, "I'm going to make this awesome for you, man. We're going to have fun." I said, "Okay."
That's great.
Yeah.
That's like that.
It was like that, and then was like that though from beginning to end, right? And it's still like that. It's never really ended in that sense, right? Lee is a very gracious man. And
like I was telling Michael yesterday, because I was talking to him, He said I was telling him that I could tell you guys, even on the show or off screen, I could tell that you guys are really, really close, like a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And that's really special.
Well, you think about it. It's 7 years we're together.
Mhm.
7 years, So not all of us, but Ginny, absolutely. Josh, absolutely. Right. Lee, absolutely. A lot of the people that have been right there from the beginning. Lana. Who else was there at the beginning there? Just trying to remember now. Beverly. All
Jennifer
the
Goodwin
12.
and all of them.
Yeah, I said Ginny and Josh at the very beginning. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was, and I mean, Josh and Ginny they still are. They're fantastic. Just really gracious people, right? Yeah.
Who do you keep in touch with the most?
Well, it used to be Gabe, but he passed away last year. And then I probably would have to say at this point in time, it would be Lee. Yeah, for sure. And me and Lee, we'd always keep in touch. I mean, he's over in LA, but we'd keep in touch anyways, right? I mean, it's just a phone call away, right? And now it's just a Zoom call away. So, you know what I mean? Yeah,
That's awesome. So, when fans come up to you, what is your reaction? Like, what do you get most? Like, what do they tell you?
Yeah, everything. What do you want to know? I mean, really, everybody's got their own idea of a question, but I mean, they'll say, who do you like working with the best? What was your favorite scene? What was your favorite episode? I'm like, oh, okay, you're asking me to pull out these memories. I mean, it's all good. There's a beauty in everything, right? I remember there was a beauty when we did an episode up on the river up in the North Shore, where a deer literally started walking into our scene, and they showed that deer in there, like in spots of it, and if you caught that episode, right? But they never got it. Like, I remember it was sitting there, and as Ginny and Josh were talking and stuff, we're just talking really lightly, right? So the deer literally wasn't scared and just walked right by us on the river, and it was like, wow, that's so cool. Like, nature just kind of, tipping their hat and saying, thanks, Snow,
It could have been Bambi.
Could have been Bambi. We were joking about that, actually. We were actually joking about that. This is like Bambi, and it's like, this is hilarious, right? And then I guess on the pilot, we had, they weren't doves, but they were pigeons, and they ended up basically flying into the building right when the wedding was going on. And I thought, that is so cool too. They kind of came in to get their front row seats, and it was like wonderful little gifts, given to us throughout the years. That's all. So, yeah.
How long did it take to get ready for a scene?
The first time I started, I think it was like 3.5 hours it took me to get into makeup and wardrobe, right? And we had some early morning shoots sometimes where I would almost fall asleep on the chair, right? Seriously. I mean, you just have to make up your Z's somehow, right? They would tell you, though, when they're spraying stuff on your face, and to hold your breath, of course, because,
The spray, yeah.
you don't want to be breathing in those toxins, right? So that part for sure, they'd have to wake you up. But otherwise, if they were working on a placement of an ear or something like that, you're kind of like this, doing their thing, and you're like, you can sleep pretty much anywhere. At least I can, anyways. Right?
Well, your character was named Sleepy.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm just in character is what I am, right? So yeah, and then eventually, I think the near the end of the season, after 7 seasons, I don't know if we get in the final season. Yeah, I think we did get dressed up once or twice. And anyways, that was down to about 2 hours, right? 2 hours it took. So they got it down from 3.5 to 2 hours, but still 2 hours to get ready for that is that. But whenever I'm getting a storybook scene and I'm no longer Sleepy but Walter, because I was actually playing Sleepy and Walter. Those are my 2 characters. And when I did that, I mean, literally, I dressed myself, hair. There was no hair. I mean, sometimes they would say, we want to take this a little bit off. I go, knock yourself out, right? I'm half bald anyways at this point, right? I don't, not bald, but I got short hair, right? You know,
We all got
and
hair, you know.
yeah. So at that point, you know, I don't know, what did it take? 20 minutes, half an hour, or something like that. At tops, everything from beginning to end, from head to toe, let's just say, right? You know, so yeah. But then again, if I was like, say, Lana, or if I was Robert Carlyle, and he's getting dressed up as Rumpelstiltskin, or she's getting dressed up as the Evil Queen, well, you have to ask them. But I would think it probably took quite a long time. Probably, I don't know, just guesstimating, but probably a few hours, right? You know, for sure.
Okay. So speaking of getting ready, what was your favorite scene from the musical episode?
The whole scene, the wedding scene was it. I mean, that's what we were part of, right? But I just loved it. I don't know. I'm not a big musical person. I never really cared for musicals. I kind of rather listen to people talk. Like talking, whenever you're singing something to a person, it's like there's too much noise going on. You know, I'm thinking to myself, how can you actually hear people talk when there's noise like this? The people are dancing, they're singing, and everything else. And until you get into a musical, until you're part of a musical, you don't understand what a musical is. At least for me, it was like that, because all of a sudden we're plopped into this musical and we're asked to kind of dance and sing and stuff. And of course, you know, we're not mic'd up for singing, but we're still singing. I mean, it's just how it is. The same thing for Descendants. I did the same there, right? You know, so I just had the funnest time ever doing musicals. I could do musicals for the rest of my life and never be tired, because it gives you the ability to move, to dance, to
Express
express.
yourself.
Yes, you know. So whereas when you're acting, you're kind of waiting for when they mic you up, and if they mic you up, and then they say, okay, go sit down in your chair for now. Okay, now we're ready, and you're kind of just like standing there. And sometimes you got to stand really, really still, you know. And whereas when it's one of those ones, I mean, you just make sure you kind of dance the same way in a certain way, and they're taking tidbits here and tidbits there, and you know, they'll say, okay, we want you to do this. Okay, great, so you do that. I remember when I was working on Descendants 3, who's the director? Kenny Ortega, wonderful human, great director. I just had a lot of fun with him, and he would just, I don't know how he controlled this stuff, but he'd see the dancers doing all their stuff, and then he'd let the scene go, and then he'd go, okay, cut, and then he goes, okay, I want more twirling over here now, more, you know what I mean, like higher. Oh, and it's like, okay, the guys are, because it wasn't as high as that, and he's got this in his mad brain of his.
He's magical, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going like, how does he do that? How does he do? He does it by practice, I'm sure. Right? You do enough of these films, and the guy's a true pro. It's just amazing, right? So yeah.
Did you know Kenny before? Or
No, met him first time actually. Then on that one, it was one of those ones there where I got booked in on my audition, like everything, and then I meet him for the very first time, and at that I didn't even know who Mal was as far as a character, right? And I'm basically introduced to her, and then after I'm just sitting there going, okay, so this is the girl I'll do the scene with, okay, and these are my kids, squeaky and squirmy, and we're hearing about this what do you call it, the contest to go on the aisle, right? And I went, oh, okay, cool, right? So I'm just supposed to do something funny, whatever, right? So I did something funny. I couldn't remember what I did, but I just reacted to what was given to me at the time, right? But all of a sudden, the PA looks at me, and she's got her little earpiece on, and she goes, whatever you're doing, the director loves it. Okay? And I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing? I guess I was just being me, right? So anyways.
awesome.
Yeah.
Were you able to meet Cameron Boyce?
Yeah, Cameron. Wow. Everybody knew when you met, if you did meet him, right? At least I did, right? I just saw this guy who was magical. People would gravitate towards him constantly. Um, he was a gentle soul, wonderful human being. I remember when I met him, I just, you're just sort of getting to know people little by little, introduce yourself type of thing. And I just walked up to him and I said, Cameron, you're pretty special. Like you got your style. Oh, thank you. He says, how did you get so talented? Because you're like he makes dance scenes look effortlessly. You know what I mean? Everything was effortless. Like I was watching him, and it was just loose. It was loose. It was just having fun, and it was effortless. And others, it wasn't the same, right? But they're still having fun. Everybody has their own process. I'm not judging. I'm just saying I saw that in Cameron. And he just says, I don't know. He says, I just do this. I've been doing it for a while. And he says, yeah.
He grew up doing it.
Huh?
He grew up doing it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I haven't seen I never saw his work before that time, to tell you the truth, right? This is the first time meeting him. But I was a fan. And then when I heard about his
Passing.
it just
I had the honor of meeting him.
yeah.
I was in Los Angeles at Disney, and he was there, and
Yeah.
you could tell he was a real human being, like real down to earth.
Of course, yeah. Wonderful. And we were all going to go to the premiere, and I was going to go to LA at that time, and then he passed away, and then they canceled the premiere, and then later on they did another one, and then at that time Gabe, who played Sneezy, was down in LA, and I was going to meet up with him there and go to this event as well, and then I just on the last minute I couldn't swing it, and then anyways, I felt bad because I really wanted to meet Cameron's parents and just say something nice about his son, right? Just a wonderful kid who was a young man at that point in time.
Ready for the next question?
Go ahead.
All right, you might know this person because this is actually a question from your co-star, Michael Coleman.
Yeah, okay.
He said, hey, do you have any idea how much I adore you? And he also said, follow-up question, should we build a real-life hovel and live in it together?
A real-life hovel together? I don't know. I tell you this. Did he tell you the story about the hovel when we first went into it for the very first? Oh, good gosh. we were texting that day on Twitter, and we were saying our hashtag was Black Lung, right? And everybody goes, Black Lung? Why Black Lung? Well, believe it or not, they put together this hovel and they brought dirt and hay into a studio, and everybody's wearing the masks that you see right now, right? The surgical mask, except us, the actors. Right? So we're sitting there, and I cough, and I remember seeing a black phlegm come out of my mouth, and I was like, ah! Like, we're coughing up black. This is not good, So it was really scary, right? So as far as living in a hovel together, I'm going to pass on that.
Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. Yeah, but it was interesting. I remember when one of the directors who's been with us from day one was Ralph. And Ralph was awesome. I remember the first time, I think it was the first time we worked together, was that episode there. Yeah. And he sees us, and I'm sleepy, so I'm going to get it into character. So I mean, we're kind of everybody's given like their beds, and there's kind of like this section of this is Sneezy's bed, okay. And then I sat there and I saw the hammock, and I went, that's got to be me. I'm the hammock guy, right? So I hop in the hammock, and I'm getting comfortable, right? And as everybody, then Ralph comes and he says, get everybody together here, right? I want everybody to hear. Well, I could hear. I'm just laying in the hammock, right? But he didn't want me laying in the hammock. He goes, Sleepy, wake up. If I got to stay awake, you got to stay awake too. I said, oh, okay, no problem, right? But I mean, I'm just, in the hammock. I'm getting into character. What is this, right? So he didn't like that, but we got along really well afterwards. It was just that first time, he thought I was basically playing with him, but I wasn't. I was being sincere, right? Just how I am. That's all. Yeah.
Fun question for you.
Yeah.
Who is the prankster in the cast?
Oh, that was Gabe. Yeah, Gabe. Yeah, Gabe was funny, man. He's just always having fun. Yeah, making jokes, stuff. Yeah, we always had a good time. Yeah, miss him. Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But we all had fun, all of us, and fun in our own ways. With Colin, I wasn't making fun, but it was kind of funny just seeing him. He comes onto set and he's got these spandex tights, and he's got this mascara going on, and he's got this his chest hair and his V-neck, and we were outside in Steveston, which is AKA Storybrooke, right? And just see him for the very first time, and I'm just sitting here, and we've got our mitts on, and I've got my my heavy hat on, and this.
You're dressed as your character.
Yeah, because it is cold out. It was a damn cold day, right? And when it was winter, right? There was snow around there, right? And I just see him, and he's dressed in his stuff, and I giggled. I couldn't help myself. I was just sitting there, and I was going like, look at me, man. And says, you're earning your pay, man. I mean, look at you. He goes, yeah, thanks, Faustino. He was getting a little bit like, how do I say it? He didn't like me putting focus in on him, right? He's Colin's Colin, right? He's just the way he is, right? One guy that's he just he's just doing his part, right? And did a great part. Played a really great role, and it was great. Really something. So yeah, I tease him every once in a while, but it was good teasing,
Yeah.
It was good teasing, right? I'm just going like, wow, man. So like, I've got little hot shots in my hands, and I got a patch over here and a patch over there. They gave us all these body patches, those hot shot things, right? And because it was cold. I mean, in winter it gets cold, right? And you're outside for a long time sometimes, right? So yeah, just how it was, right?
What has been the coolest convention or event that you've been on or been to since Once Upon a Time?
Wow, they're all memorable in their own ways. The first one I was supposed to go to was in Florida, but we had to work, so I couldn't go to that particular one. I would have loved to have gone there. I think it was in Tampa, Orlando. And then after that, my very first convention I went to was the one in Italy about a year later, actually, in this little town called Perugia, and that was quite fun. It was a smaller convention, but I had the opportunity to practice my Italian, and I spoke in Italian when I was there, and the fans loved that because the majority of the fans were Italian fans. So it was good. I loved the opportunity to speak in my native tongue when I have that chance. So that was great. Then after that, I think we did RegalCon, if I'm not mistaken. That was that was over in California. And then after that, I think I did a convention in Vancouver with that group. I cannot remember again. Anyways, that was good as well. But the fun, where I've had the most fun, I'll be honest with you, had a lot of fun was in Barcelona. That was a really great convention. And then, of course, the ones in England were also very great. a lot of fans. That's where I first saw probably. I mean, the last one we went to in Blackpool. One night they were there to listen to Robert Carlyle speak and Lana speak, and there must have been, I'm going to say, about 800 people in this one venue listening to him. And it was just it was good. It was good. I mean, there was just a lot of fans, and it was a lot of fun. You know, they're all fun in their own ways. Yeah, I'd love to keep going. What can I say? It's the best part about what we do is meeting the people that appreciate what we do, right? So this doesn't happen, what we do, unless it's not for people like you. You know what I mean?
Once Upon a Time literally is my favorite show.
Oh, wonderful. You know, I'm glad it affected you in a way that, in a positive way, that is dear to your heart. So thank you for being part of it. I got to learn how to speak up for myself rather than fighting. This is not a viable solution.
Good for you.
Don't know what happened. Got into a series of automobile accidents, took up yoga, eventually met up with the Swami, went to India on a yoga retreat. And while I was there, one of the Swamis said to me, he says, "Are you an actor?" And I says, "No, I'm not an actor. I'm a stonemason." He says, said to me, he says, "Well, you should be an actor." And I says, "That's a bad idea." He says, "I'm extremely shy, man. I'm not a good speaker. I don't speak well." He says, "Well, you seem to be speaking well now." And I went, "Oh, okay."
Is that how you got into acting?
I dismissed it at that point. In fact, a year went by and I never thought about it ever. And then the second time I went back to India, this time instead of actually going there to do yoga, I went there to meditate. So I traveled and meditated. So I went back to the ashram where I was at, and then afterwards I just worked around and went up to Varanasi and up towards Rishikesh, and just saw how life goes on in India and such. And when I was in Rishikesh there, I was doing a lot of meditation. I remember it just came up to me in my meditation and I couldn't shake it. It was like, wow, you know, usually you have a thought and it will pass, you know, everything will pass, right? Everything passes. That's why I say this mask thing will pass too. Everything passes. Nothing is constant. And at that point, I realized, I said, okay, why isn't this not passing? So I said, okay, I got to obviously address this. And so I just said to myself at the time, I said, when I get back to Canada, if acting is offered to me, I'll say yes. Okay? Just kind of speaking to my spirit, you know? And fine, the thought left me. And that was it. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. That's all I needed to do. That's great. So I got back to my meditation, right? There were some days I would meditate for like 4 hours straight, you know? And that was something. I could never return to those days. But I shouldn't say never because it's always possible, right? But now it's tougher for me to sit for that extended periods of time like that, right? You know, back then I was sitting in lotus pose. Now I can't even get into a lotus pose, you know? So forget that noise, right? But I went back to Canada and I met this girl at the gym who's an actress who told me about the school. And so I applied at the school and I read to get in and I did. And then I started training and then the rest is history. And I started that back in 2004. So that's the first time when I started acting really, you know, and it was just in a class with students and just having fun doing it, you know, and I always had fun doing it. And just picking up a play and reading it from cover to cover, kind of understanding the logistics of it.
Like the story and stuff?
Absolutely, you know. So I enjoyed that and still enjoy that, right? This is why I love what I do, right? Because I enjoy it, right? And then that was it. I mean, I put these thoughts out there, these ideas. I remember after I about 4 years of training, I gave up on it. and I just ended up traveling. I went to Europe I was international referee for wrestling, so I went to Europe I was only going to go for a month, and then I after a month I wasn't satisfied, so I changed my tickets for 3 months, right? My return. And in that 3 months, I ended up going to this. I was in Romania at the time, and a friend of mine calls me and says, "You should go over to Moldova there, and I'll go to this health spa I was telling you about." Oh, right, yeah, you told me about that. He says, "So what do I do?" He says, "Well, go there. My aunt will take care of you. You know, I'll get someone to pick you up at the train station." I went, "Okay, fair enough. I'll do it." So I went over and got my passport stamped with the visa and everything, because you still need a visa to get there. And I did, and I went to this health spa in the middle of nowhere, and it was basically treatment with sulfuric water and mud baths and stuff like that. And it was I thought, great, I'll do this. And it was very inexpensive. I don't know what it is now, but it was extremely inexpensive at the time. I think I spent something like $500 for 21 days. Right? And that's all room and board and treatment and everything, right? And I was like, wow. I didn't like the food that much, so what I would do is I would actually go into the farmer's market and buy a whole bunch of stuff that I like, and I just pay the people working behind the kitchen to prepare some certain meals for me. And some people didn't like that, but I couldn't stomach eating sardines. I just I couldn't. I don't know about you, but I mean, you can't get that smell out of your breath, right? So, no. And anyways, when I was there, that's when I met this girl who eventually became my wife. And I ended up, instead of going home after that trip there right away, I extended my ticket for almost a year. And I moved back to Moldova, rented an apartment, and just got to know this wonderful woman at the time, who's now my ex-wife. And that was a neat experience, because I never lived in a communist country in my life. And that was something different for me at that time. And yeah, a lot of wonderful things, but a lot of things that we, as Americans and Canadians, we take for granted. Yeah, had a great time, went back to Canada. And then at that point I said, I'm going to, told my wife, or my fiance at the time, that I was going to take up acting again. And I did. And I remember when I was training, she didn't really care for my acting, because I was always experimenting with different characters. And I realized I play a really good psychopath, right? And I went, this is something I could actually, get good at. And I thought, yeah, I'm just joking, but it plays into it quite nicely. I was scaring out of her. I was to the point where she was just petrified sometimes, And I said to myself, I said, remember what you wish for. This is very difficult, but remember this. I said to myself at the time, I says, wow, so what's this career going to look like? I says, oh, I'm going to be doing Disney then. And lo and behold, my very first job I got was with Disney. ABC Disney.
And that opened up a lot of doors of that, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. I just said it to myself at the time, just something, just you're trying to build this and visualize what this is going to look like, right? So you put these ideas and you talk to yourself about what, I do. I talk to myself. So, yeah, I did. And lo and behold, everything's kind of materialized in that way, in that facet, and I've had nothing but fun working with them. It brings my youth back. It really does. Like when I worked on Descendants and all that dancing, I didn't care that we were working 16-hour days up on our feet, dancing and doing stuff, because that was just plain fun. My legs throbbed and they hurt, but that was fun. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, yeah, no regrets in that end of it, for sure.
So my final question is about Once Upon a Time. What is one thing that you got to take home from the set?
I took home my, you know, have on your chair, it gives you your name, right?
Hmm?
You know, I got that. I think it's in the other room. Do you guys want to see it, or is it?
Sure.
I'll get it for you. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, we were giving gifts along the way as well. There's more, but I'll just grab a few things. I mean, they were always generous and extremely hospitable with us, and
Wow.
so I kept that. This was given to us, I think, in season 1 or 2, right? I don't know. Can you see that? Okay.
That is cool.
And then on this side,
Granny's Diner.
yeah. So there's that. And then this was, I mean, it's a little bit worn down now. It's got a hole in it and stuff, but I love this cap. Really did. So I put it on like this, and then when you see this side of it, this is what you see.
Mr. Cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then on this side,
Season 1. So that's from season 1.
yeah, season 1. Yeah, so this is probably season 2 then, if that's the case. I'm thinking, yeah, season 1, season 2. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, wow, man, this is cool. I saw some people with the jackets, but they never gave us a jacket. I was like, I don't care. I'll buy one. I don't mind having it. I just want one, right? You know, but no, it was like just the crew got that mostly, right? I think it was just the camera, a couple people from the crew. I saw a couple grips with one, and I think I saw a cameraman with one. Yeah, it wasn't everybody. It wasn't everybody. It was like just a small select few, but they were nice jackets too.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And
it was great talking to you.
it was nice meeting you and talking to you as well.
Wonderful. So
Thank
you
you.
take care, Brian, and we'll be talking in the future, I'm sure. You have a good
Absolutely.
day. Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
All the best.